Hey guys, it's Amira. Today we're going to start off with my favorite foundation, which is the Lancôme Tinty Doll Ultra Wear Foundation. I am in the color 500 Suede W. I am also going to be adding a small pump of Eucerin's Smooth and Repair Light Lotion. And the reason why I add moisturizer to this foundation is because I actually have severely dry skin. So this foundation is very mattifying. So just adding a pump of lotion gives my skin that moisture that I need. So here I'm just going to put one pump of foundation and one pump of lotion on the mirror, and I'm going to use a brush to mix the two together. Keep in mind, if you have oily or combination skin, you definitely want to skip this step. I also forgot to let you guys know that I already have on my primer, which I use Laura Mercier's Radiance primer, and I also use Nivea's Post Shave Balm just to have a nice smooth and poreless canvas. So here I'm going to put dots all over my face, and the reason why I do this is so I can control the amount of product that I'm putting on and make sure that I have an even amount. So I'm now going to blend the foundation in with my favorite blending brush, which is from e.l.f. It's their ultimate blending brush. And as you guys can see, I do more of a buffing motion. I just like to press the foundation in rather than swipe or swirl. And the reason why I do this is because I find it gives more coverage when you just buff it in, as well as it gives an airbrush finish. Now, I'm going to go in and buff it some more with a clean, big fluffy powder brush. This powder brush is actually from Real Techniques. And again, there's no product on here. I'm just using the brush to further buff that foundation in to give a nice, smooth, and flawless base. Next, it is time to highlight. So today I will be using the famous LA Girl concealer, and I am using the color Fawn. Now, I'm actually not fond of the applicator, like the little squeezy applicator. Like, it's not really my favorite. Yeah, I prefer like the NARS type of applicator where it's like a stick applicator. But yeah, so we're going for a very light coverage, so I don't put on a lot. And it does look like the color that I chose is really light, but once I blend it out, you'll see that it's a very subtle color. And plus, we didn't use a lot, so it will come out looking not too dramatic. This is supposed to be like an everyday, during the day type of look. Alright, I'm also going to do my forehead, and if you notice, my forehead isn't really that big, so I try to concentrate the highlight of my forehead mostly just in between and a little bit above my eyebrows. And I know some of you are wondering, I have either Big Sean or Rick Ross playing on Pandora right now, so yeah. So now I'm just using the Real Techniques beauty sponge to blend out that concealer. This is actually the second time I've ever used a sponge of any sort, so I am kind of still learning. Now, see, you can see the benefit of using the moisturizer in my foundation here under the concealer, because you guys can see how smooth and flawless the concealer looks, because it's blended on top of that really creamy base. So, I mean, technically, I guess if you had oily skin, you could still do that, and you could just set the foundation. You could just set the foundation more. But again, if you have oily skin, I wouldn't recommend it. So now we're going to go in with the star of the show, which is the CoverGirl Contour Palette. And we're going to start off with the bronze color, which is kind of like a orangey reddish color. And I'm just using this brush to follow the natural hollows of my cheeks. And I'm also going to take that color up on the temples of my hairline and just around the perimeter of my hairline. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And as you guys can see, it's already starting to warm up my face and give my face a little bit more dimension. So yeah, I'm just sucking in my cheeks to find the nice natural shadows, and I'm just following that line. Now I'm going to go in with the actual contour color, and I'm going to do the same thing. I actually just put the contour color on top of the bronze color, and so what I do to let there actually be a difference shown is, you might not notice it, but I'm leaving a thin layer of the bronze part forward, so I'm going over the contour with the bronze, but I'm leaving a little bit of the bronze still exposed by itself, if that makes sense. So if you look closely, you'll see where there's still some of the bronze part that there's no contour on top of it. So I kind of also bring the bronze color much further down to like my mouth, further down my cheeks as well, whereas I don't do the contour that far down. And here I'm doing the contour underneath my jawline and underneath my chin, just to have my jawline pop a little bit more. You guys, I cannot do these videos with music no more, because I am getting my whole life doing this. So here I'm just using a clean angled brush to buff in that contour and the bronze. Now this stuff is so creamy, and the rest of my foundation is already creamy, so it's just blending in like a dream. And the motion that I'm doing, I'm actually pressing in and kind of swirling upward. So I'm pressing in and swirling upward. And you guys can definitely see a nice subtle contour that looks very natural. It's not super sharp and it's not super dark. So now I'm going to go in with my concealer, and I'm just going to just define the contour a little bit more. Now keep in mind, I'm not squeezing the bottle. I'm just using the little bit of concealer that was left on the brush to lightly carve out that contour. So I'm going to get the sponge, and I'm going to, I'm just going to buff that in. I want to do the same thing on the other side. And as you can see now, the contour looks just a little bit more carved, but still very natural. And so it does look just a little bit sharp right here. So we are going to go back in and kind of try to blend it in a little bit more so it just flows better. So I'm going to go back in with the contour color and just lightly go back over it. And I'm kind of just concentrating mostly on the hollows of my cheeks. And again, you guys, I'm not putting a lot. So the color payoff of this stuff is really good because I'm not really using a lot. And I'm just going to use that same angled brush to press and push up. And as you can see, it kind of gets rid of that sharp line. Now it is time to add a little bit more color. Today for the blush, I am using a blush from Sephora called Hot Flush. And I'm just putting a little bit of that on top of the bronze in the contour area of my cheeks. Oh, and this brush, by the way, this is an angled brush by Elf. Anybody's wondering. Now we're going to go in with the MAC Studio Fix powder. And I am in color NW43. And I don't use a lot of this. So I barely swirl it in the pan just to pick up a little bit of product. And then I'm going to go in my forehead. And again, I'm just mostly buffing the product in. I'm not actually swirling it. Well, I'm swirling it, but I'm more so buffing it in, if that makes sense. So that's looking good. And now we're going to go and set the under eye with some Ben Nye powder. Now, you guys, I bought this Ben Nye powder online. I actually think it's a knockoff because I've used the original Ben Nye, and I feel like this one is just a little bit different. I'm not sure. But it still works great, so. But I think I think the color is a little different, but I actually think this color that I have is a little bit more black girl friendly than the banana powder. But also, again, because I do have dry skin, I just want to set my under eye, but I don't want to bake, as you people say. So I don't want to bake. I just want to put just a light amount of powder just to set it. And here I'm also just going over that area where I put some concealer earlier. Now I'm just using the same brush just to blend out my under eye. And now I am back. I've just put on a lippy, some eyeliner, and put a little bit to my eyebrow. And now I'm going to go in with my highlighter, which is from MAC. It is the, I think it's Soft Flush. Let me go see. Oh, it's Soft and Gentle. So yeah, so this is the MAC Soft and Gentle, and I'm just putting that on the highest points of my cheeks. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And you guys, this is like the best highlighter ever. This is actually Mineralized Skinfinish, and it just gives such a wonderful glow. So I'm going to use that same angled brush, and I'm just going to just blend those two together just to make sure everything looks nice and smooth. Alright, so to top everything off, just to make sure everything is blended well, I'm just going to go back in that Studio Fix powder, and just put that all over the edges of my face and buff that in. And I'm going to finish off with a little bit of spray. And that is it, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is my first voiceover, which is so cool. But you guys can follow me here on my social media. And don't forget to subscribe and like and comment. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye.